like to welcome everyone to the Economic Development Advisory Committee of March 10th, 2026. I'm going to call this meeting adjourned, call to order at 10:02. It's Monday somewhere, maybe. So I'll do the Land Acknowledgement Act. As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of our council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also like to thank all the generations of people that have taken care of the land for thousands of years. Deputy Clerk, can we have the roll call, please?
Chair Councillor Sapolsky.
Present.
Councillor Dick.
Present.
Erica Edmansky.
Present.
Councillor McWhirter.
Present.
Christina Ouellette.
Present.
John Poole.
Present.
Lisa Vincent. And Laurie Workishire. Chair, we do have quorum.
Thank you very much. All right. B, declaration of interest. Is there any declaration of interest today? Seeing none, we're going to move into presentations, and with the grace of with the grace of the committee, we are going to move. All right, if she's ready to go, right now. Yeah. Sorry. No. All right, we're going to move right into C1. We were about to skip, but we have a delegation from Haley Heaslip today, and she's going to speak towards tourism promotion and visitor itineraries. Haley.
Apologize for being late. My last meeting went over. It should be very quick. It shouldn't be very long. I literally have 4 bullet points. So in Ontario, 95% of tourism stays in the local community. I am sure all of you are aware of that. And on our website right now, the business and tourism is connected. It's in one tab. It's not separated. They are very different items. And so my recommendation, I was going to bring it to council, but I was recommended to bring it to you first. And so my recommendation would to be on the website, separate those 2 items. The main thing on the tourism side of things, I think having simple itineraries that could be utilized, so someone looking to come to Renfrew could just simply come. They're like, hey, I want to go visit Renfrew. What is there to do? That's oftentimes the question that I see online. And oftentimes I see the comment from local residents just saying, well, there's nothing to do in Renfrew. Well, this could prove them wrong. What is things that we have to do? What are the things that you could do? Not just go shopping and go eat at a restaurant, but go to the local businesses, but also our beautiful trail systems and our different areas and the community events and things like that that are happening. So, like I said, it would be short and sweet. But right now there's the Experience Ontario program, which is a grant funding program for municipalities. So I just wanted to bring that forward as well, that there is also funding for the town. But yeah, like I said, very simple, short, and to the point. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you. So clarifying questions from anyone on what was presented? Okay. It's even shorter and less. Thank you, Haley.
Yeah.
We appreciate you putting in the effort and time.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to move into C.2, which is another presentation from Susan Humphreys, which is Renfrew County District School Board. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and it's an honor to be here this morning to have a little bit of a conversation with you about school board trustees. And I did have the opportunity to speak to the Renfrew County Clerks and Treasurers Association last fall, really to talk about how, for example, the municipalities do run our elections and how we might help them do that. And one of the challenges is people really don't know a lot about a school board trustee and what they do. So we thought it might be just helpful to have a little bit of a conversation about the role of the trustee and also tie that into the economic development portion, particularly in Renfrew County, obviously. So I am a trustee on the Renfrew County District Board, District School Board. It's the public board. We have a total of 9 trustees, and I did provide a handout to you earlier that just kind of gave you a quick overview about what a trustee does. And in fact, there are a lot of similarities between an elected school board trustee and an elected municipal councillor, in that we do work as a board, that we do focus in on community needs, but of course with the school board, we're focusing only on education, so we're a little bit narrower focused, obviously, and critically focused. Is very important that we do a good job with that. Excuse me. So just to give you a bit of a sense, in this county, for example, so we do have 4 boards in Renfrew County. The public board, English Public Board, is by far the largest one. We have about 10,000 students, about 2,200 staff. We are the 2nd largest employer in the county, so we do have a big economic impact on the county as a whole. To give you a bit of a sense of the main roles of the trustee is around, again, much like municipal councillors, we're looking at long-term planning. So strategic plan is one of our biggest pieces, and we've just completed a new plan for 26 to 30 through lots of consultation. So that's setting that direction, doing the strategic plan, developing policies, allocating resources, all of those things I know that you folks do as well. We work very closely with our Director of Education. She is our only, she or he, but she, at the moment, is our only employee. So we hire her and hold her accountable for the work that's done with the board. Again, sort of similarly to your CAO situation, right? You work with her, through her, to staff as well. And that's quite similar. And then finally, the strong connection to community. And I think that's one of the pieces that I wanted to emphasize here, is that the school board trustees do work closely with parents in the community, with businesses in the community. We rely on businesses and organizations for our co-op programs, for our apprenticeship programs. And then parents often come to us if they're having some challenges, kind of getting through with some needs with their students for schools. And I think you probably have all experienced that at some point in time. And there are methods of working with the school, of course. You would talk to your teacher, your principal, superintendent, but sometimes the trustee is also there to help guide and facilitate that conversation. So the interesting thing with the trustee, that because most people don't really know what a trustee does, unless you've really had some challenges with your own students or grandchildren, you might not have ever called your trustee. So we kind of do work in the background a lot. We are totally governance board. So when you are elected as a trustee, you're not going to be able to go in and change the principal at your local school, for example. We are not into operations. We're total governance. Again, similar to what municipalities do as well. Excuse me. So that gives you a bit of an overall sense of the role of what we do. So I did want to tie a little bit more into economic development, because of course that's what you're here to talk about. And as I mentioned, we are the 2nd largest employer in the county rather. We have a budget of $165 million, so that's a significant amount of dollars that comes in. And as with government in general, and I'm sure you find this as well, our money is enveloped in lots of different ways. We don't have a lot of flexibility in how we move money around. And the 2 areas that we are always overspent in is in special education and in transportation. Those are things that as we know, particularly in a small rural county like ours, with the distances are very great, transportation is going to cost a lot because we've got many kilometers to travel every single day. Special needs, we know that we are ever-increasing needs in our students. So we always are overspent in early childhood educators and those special needs folks that we do have in the schools. The other thing I wanted to remind people about too is that schools are so important in a community. If a family moves into a community, one of the first things they ask about are, what are the schools? Like, what schools are here? What schools, what have I heard about those schools? Can I go visit those schools? So I'm hoping that, when you're doing your work in promoting your municipality, that you talk about the schools as well. Because we do have some really amazing schools. And even though I'm biased toward the public schools, the Catholic schools here are very strong as well. We also have community use of schools, as I think you are aware, that you can rent portions of our schools on a regular basis. And we do try to do that pretty much on a cost recovery basis. The ministry does provide some funding to help us with that, but you can rent the gym, you can rent various portions of the school. One of the neat things at RCI right now is that and I'm sure you're aware of this, that there's a new community kitchen that just got installed there last summer through some funding with Metro, and it's a beautiful kitchen that, again, could be rented by someone in the community if they chose to do that. So keep that in mind as well. So just a couple of other things I wanted to let you be aware of. And again, I'm sure you are aware. The Ministry of Education spoke pretty clearly last August at AMO that he was thinking seriously of removing a locally elected school board trustees. And that's still a question. And note that he's only thinking about removing the English elected school board trustees, not the French or the Catholic. He's still kind of on that route. There's been a lot of pushback by community members, by parents, by school boards. Some municipalities actually have even put in a motion to support keeping locally elected trustees. Our worry is if those locally elected trustees are removed, then the replacement is likely going to be an appointment of some kind. And so again, the worry is that the province is taking a stronger hold in controlling how education is being delivered in Ontario. And you may be aware right now he does have 8 boards under supervision where he has appointed a supervisor to do all the work of the trustees at a much higher salary, might I add. But he's basically, what happens when that occurs is that you don't have the same kind of consultation with the public and you don't have the same accountability. So just to be aware that that's a piece that we still don't know about. Excuse me. The legislature comes back to sit on March the 23rd. We are expecting there could be legislation put forward then, but we don't know what it's going to look like. So it's challenging to be kind of an English public board trustee right now because we're not sure what's around the corner. And elections are coming up, as you very well know. I've been a trustee for 12 years. This is the end of my 3rd term, and I'm not running again. I had planned that a couple of years ago, and I thought, okay, I'm going to let people know I'm not running, and so if somebody is interested, I'd love to sit down and chat with them and talk about it, but I can't even do that right now because we don't know what the future holds. So that's a little bit of a challenge for us as well. So I guess 2 things, if I can just wrap up. I would ask you to think a little bit about the issue around losing locally elected, democratically elected trustees. I think that really does undermine democracy in Ontario, and I would ask that you think about, as a municipality, maybe perhaps putting a motion forward supporting the importance of keeping locally elected people in the community. And then secondly, when you are doing any planning or promoting, just remember of the education partners. Remember we're here, because sometimes I think we are forgotten a little bit, and we are an important piece of the community and for people moving into the community as well. And I guess for myself, I'd like to ask as well, is there something we can do better to help connect with our municipalities better? Renfrew obviously is one of those many municipalities in the county. We do a presentation at County Council annually so that they are aware of what's going on in the board. But if there's more we can do as a Board of Trustees or from an education perspective, we'd be happy and open to those ideas as well. So I think with that, I'm going to end that off. I don't know if you have any questions or comments. I'm happy to address if ever for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any clarifying questions? Yes, John Paul.
Thank you. I'm curious, if you've been a trustee for 12 years, you might be able to give a little context to this. You mentioned the transportation costs, and certainly as a dad, I've seen sports teams where the cost to take a bus from Renfrew to Pembroke, like the math doesn't even make sense in my world. I'm like, I don't even know how anyone could charge that / afford it. In your 12 years, when you look at those transportation costs, what has been the the path for when we went where it was sort of reasonable to now it's like these crazy big prices? Is it just insurance and gas and stuff, or is it that our area is different than other areas? Because it just seems like that number to transport kids for simple things that used to be routine, like day trips and things like that, that cost has just become so astronomical. What's the root of it? Well,
and that's a good point. For sure, it has become pretty outrageous in many ways. One of the challenges, and maybe to be say, we're not different from every other board in the province. We're very much in line. One of the things that happened a year and a half ago, the fall of 24, we did have a bus strike as well. So the consortium, which is the Renfrew County Joint Transportation Consortium, is the public and the Catholic board that we do work together, and we do work on contracts with bus companies. And so at that point in time, they were all on strike. So you know what happens in a strike situation. There are ever-increasing requirements and requests for money for salaries mainly. So salaries have gone up substantially, along with insurance and gas. So it has gone very high, but it's not different from every other county in the province.
So was it like a gradual increase, or did we see like a hockey stick where it sort of went up quickly, kind of out of nowhere?
No, it was pretty gradual, actually. But I would say during the strike, it did skyrocket a fair bit at that point in time. But over the years, it has just gone up kind of gradually. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Any other clarifying questions? Susan?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the
appreciate that.
opportunity. I appreciate it.
All right. Next on the list is C3, a presentation from Jolene Milosh from the Renfrew ATV Club, and joining her, if there's any questions, will be Greg Tatton. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair. Turn it on. Great. Okay, so my name is Jolene Milosh, and I've been with the RCATV for 4 fun years, and I am the business operations manager, and here with me today is...
I'm Greg Tatton. I'm currently a director for the town of Renfrew on behalf of Renfrew County ATV Club. I joined the club in 2016, so I've been with the club now 10 years. So I've gone full circle because in between that I was vice president and also president of the club. I'm also a member of the trail warden team and also a member of the trails team, which keep our trails clean. Okay, that's it for me.
Great. And so on behalf of the RCATV team, I'd like to, we can switch slides. Sorry, thanks. And so on behalf of the RCATV team, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present today as a key partner in tourism and recreation. We greatly appreciate the recognition and value having a voice at this table. So we're looking forward to contributing to the success of Ride Renfrew initiatives. So this is a depiction of our team here, who are the dedicated individuals who generously give their time and effort to make things happen both on and off the trails. Registered in 2007, the RCATV is celebrating 19 years as a non-for-profit organization and is one of 24 clubs in good standing with our parent organization, the Ontario Federation of All-Terrain Vehicles, otherwise known as the OFATV. In accordance with ONCA, RCATV is governed by an elected board of directors and executive team and operates under a formal constitution and governance framework that guides decision-making, ensures responsible leadership, transparency, accountability, provides financial oversight, and supports effective trail management. And next slide. RCATV serves as a strategic partner in advancing sustainable trail development, safety, and accessibility. We are committed to stewardship excellence and work collaboratively with municipalities, ministries, landowners, community partners, our corporate members, and of course our valued volunteers to maintain trail infrastructure and manage over 1,400 kilometers of trails and abandoned rail beds that span throughout the Renfrew County. Our trail system is a community cornerstone that enhances recreational opportunities, fosters active lifestyles, and contributes to our overall well-being. Through our collective efforts, we support and promote responsible riding, local tourism, and economic growth by encouraging riders and visitors to experience our communities, landscapes, and businesses throughout our region. Next slide. Here's an overview of our membership status. 12 years ago, we had 20 active permits, and now we're just shy of 2,700. Our peak permit sales are, of course, in the summer, and so therefore this number is forecasted to increase by at least 10%. Next slide. Our parent organization is a heavy hitter in the outdoor recreation and tourism. The OFATV collectively has just over 10,000 kilometers of trails and a ridership of over 14,000 members. There are 24 total clubs and reciprocal trail systems within that trail network. They also feature Quadon, which is our digital mapping and navigational tool, which also features the premium point of interest system. A keystone OFATV initiative was the introduction of the provincial regulation 316-03, which allows municipalities to pass bylaws permitting ATVs on the roads. Next slide. Here's a depiction of the vastness of the RCATV trail network. Renfrew County this number is subjective, 7,645 square kilometers in size, and is recognized as Ontario's largest county and is also home to the biggest network of trails. Our trails are managed by 7 directors, each responsible for designated trail segments with 6 connecting corridors linking the systems together. So that's quite the asset. As you can see, the scale of our network is significant. So maintaining and promoting a system of this size requires strong partnerships across the region. Next slide. While RCATV is volunteer-driven, the success and sustainability of the trail network relies heavily on collaboration with our municipalities, economic development teams, and local businesses. One of the ways we strengthen that partnership, support trail tourism, and local spending is through our corporate membership program. This program isn't simply about sponsorship, it's about integrating local businesses into the trail tourism experience. Through this initiative, businesses become recognized trail partners and gain direct exposure to more than 14,000 riders throughout our mapping platforms, trail signage and information, marketing and promotions. As a part of the tourism ecosystem and a shared economic strategy, this is how the community participates in and benefits from trail economy. This program serves as a bridge between RCATV's trail network and Ride Renfrew initiatives to encourage and guide riders to visit the town, its services, and local businesses. Simply put, the trail network brings the riders, and our community partners help ensure those riders stay, play, and shop local. Next slide. And so this is a quick stats for you guys from our 2023 rider survey, which indicate that our riders contribute to local economy and how the corporate membership plays a key role in connecting riders to our communities. Our riders aren't just using the trails, they're actively contributing to the communities they visit. 90%, well, nearly 90% of riders stop at local businesses. 95% of those riders spending on fuel 85 on food and beverage, and 35 on tourism attractions. And while we're seeing accommodations at 20%, we are due to produce another survey, so these stats are likely to increase drastically. The survey also gives us insight into who these riders are. Over 60% are at or over the average Canadian income mean. 45% are over 110K, which means they have the capacity to invest in the sport, travel and accommodations, food and beverage, and entertainment. Furthermore, almost half ride weekly, and 55% are using Quad On to plan their rides. Meanwhile, 50% hold active RCATV permits, and an additional 15% hold reciprocal permits, showing strong engagement with the club and our network. Next slide. Building on these insights, here's a proposed action plan to support Ride Renfrew initiatives through the establishment of strategic downtown parking. This would provide our riders easy and welcoming access while directing them from the trail to the heart of local commerce. Specifically where the OVRT intersects with Plant westward, then eastward to Railway Ave. We believe that this is the ideal location to further develop for downtown access, which would be right in the heart of the major section of downtown. There are two, but this is one of the initiatives. Next slide. So Mask Road and K&P trailhead expansion. So this here is a WIP project that will allow ease of access from trail to town, where riders can access amenities and businesses, which is the other portion of Renfrew seems to be split into more or less. So while they can access businesses and amenities, this will also allow for truck and trailer parking. And this is a little bit larger of a project that includes clearing and brushing from the OVRT to Haramis Park, which is the information station, and will include the installation of aggregate, a culvert, and RCATV trailhead signage and parking signage. Next slide. Again, much like the Mask Road project, the Mattaway Park and Trail Access project is a quite similar project, because it also gives riders access to parking so they can park and ride with ease. We do have a meeting scheduled next week for on-site to discuss and further advance the trailhead expansion and parking projects. Next slide. These next few slides will just quickly touch on prescribed signage and the implementation of QR. So they refer to intuitive signage and how it makes navigation simple and stress-free, helping riders to move more confidently from trail to town. A strategic signage increases foot traffic, and at the same time, trailhead and parking signage also present a visible platform for our corporate members, providing exposure to riders, strengthening the connection between the trails and local commerce. So the sign to the top left here, you have Ride Renfrew. We just put in a quick slogan there because for key messaging. It just shows how throughout the trail system, signs like this would be targeting our ridership to move towards the town and what is offered in the town. So it's just some examples of amenities, businesses, tourism attractions, and all that. And of course, the sign underneath that would be, in case you're lost, what 3 words, so to scan that. And then there's directional arrows that are incorporated throughout the system. A lot of safety signage, parking, which is good for, directing traffic. They want to know where to park, and they just don't know. So they need that ease of access. And then wayfinding. So we're going to be implementing the QR codes throughout all of our signage, just for that ease of access and directional flow. Next slide. These are what our 4x8 trailhead maps This is what our signage looks like. They offer marketing and promotion opportunities to our corporate members, have relevant safety and etiquette info, event listings, trail ratings, point of interest, etc. Next slide. So in particular, the new trailhead sign would be going up into the segment of trail that is designated as a Renfrew County Trail Warden Checkpoint. It is regularly patrolled in partnership with the OPP Ride Safe program and serves as a flagship initiative demonstrating our commitment to responsible recreation. Next slide. So these are just some ideas. Strategy is to focus on collaboration and targeted marketing to encourage trail visitation throughout the riding season, foster community connection, and enhance rider experience. Through working with regional partners and cross-promoting, we can reach a broader audience. So these ideas just incorporate, our partners like ODO and OVTA, as well as local businesses and municipalities to co-market and cross-promote trail experiences. As some ideas, midweek and shoulder season initiatives when it's slower times. We're proactive in maximizing trail tourism opportunities. We focus on encouraging visits outside of peak weekends and throughout the shoulder season. Some examples, Ramble Rides, which our Petawawa director, Jim Tate, is planning a series of midweek rides focused on rider education and targeting specific age demographics for inclusion. We will also explore weekday and shoulder season specials and other cross-promotional opportunities with our partners to attract riders during quieter times. Specialized packages and itineraries, such as retiree or group ride packages, offer structured opportunities for visitors to experience the trails in a community-focused setting, capitalizing on opportunities to convert day trips into overnight stays, packaging multi-day experiences to encourage weekend stay-and-play visitation. Next slide. Other partnership ideas and opportunities are CATV Trail Passport Program and or Digital Challenge, where visitors collect stamps or decals from businesses. So they would visit 5 locations and win a draw prize. This further encourages riders to shop local. Collaborative opportunities to host annual and signature rides, bringing larger numbers. Some examples, trail opening weekend. Town festivals would include RCATV rides, like the Petawawa Ramble, Fall Colors, Charity and Poker rides, etc. Partnering with us to welcome riders and become a part of the regional trail tourism economy. Other ideas would be offer exclusive promotions tailored to our riders and sponsored trail sections, events, and organized rides. And basically where businesses would act as trail-friendly locations offering water fill stations and rest stops. Next slide. This presents one of our greatest opportunities to integrate these ideas and strengthen the connection between businesses and the trail tourism economy. In this map, you'll see the highlighted is the Quad County Loop, which is a 332-kilometer ride that connects 3 neighboring counties, Frontenac, Lanark, Leeds, and Grenville, and offers riders a chance to experience the diverse scenery and the communities of Eastern Ontario. The OVRT, KNP, and Quad County Loop, and the broader regional trail system are key components of Renfrew County's growing tourism economy. 3 affiliate clubs utilize the Quad County Loop, and through the OFATV reciprocal agreements, this encourages more than 14,000 permit holders to explore Ontario's vast trail network, boosting regional tourism. Renfrew is strategically positioned along major corridors connecting municipalities, local businesses, accommodations, restaurants, and other tourism operators. By leveraging this advantage, we can strengthen visitor movement and appeal while generating economic benefits for local businesses and the community. As a central hub within the RCTV system, the town of Renfrew plays a supporting role as part of Ontario's largest and premier destination for trail tourism, while advancing our community vision to create meaningful economic and experiential benefits throughout the valley. Next slide. This is what we're offering this season. We have a few rides going on here, and our opener is an annual fundraiser, which will draw a large crowd to Renfrew itself. But if you haven't yet been on any of our rides, we would love to make that happen. Please get in touch with us. And so that's what we have to offer you guys. Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you. That's great information, guys. I really appreciate that. I think a lot of us are kind of surprised with some of the information. Like, it's stuff that should be more public all the time. So I appreciate the effort there. I'll give everyone an opportunity to ask some follow-up questions if there is any. John Paul.
Excellent presentation. As volunteers, thank you for all that you do. That's an incredible amount of geography you cover with a very small amount of volunteers, so thank you for that. I just have two questions I wrote down. One is, when someone buys a trail permit, so it's $2,300, $2,500-ish, how often do they use the trails? Is there people that just buy it and go out once or twice, or is it someone who buys it uses it frequently?
In the stats, it was showing that most of our riders ride weekly.
Weekly? And you know, I think it was our last meeting, we had cyclists in, and I'm curious about the trails, like the trails that you guys are using. What are other user groups that are using the same trails, or are they exclusive to ATVs, et cetera?
These are multi-use trails. So we could have horse riders, we could have cyclists, we could have dog walkers. It's not limited to other than motorized vehicles such as cars and trucks.
Right.
Everything else is pretty much.
And how much of your trail system overlaps with, say, like the snowmobilers' trail system? Is there parts that overlap, or are they completely separate?
We use the same trails.
Okay.
A lot of the same trails. Not all of them, but a lot of the same trails are shared with the snowmobile clubs. We have a good partnership with, which is District 6. Terry Vaudry was with our club years ago, and we have maintained that partnership. So we have a good connection with the snowmobile clubs.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems that, I mean, again, this is not a world I live in, but we're certainly stacking the use of these trails by multi-groups, and certainly tying them all together as a strength, you know, certainly increases tourism, but also more volunteers helping on the trails and making sure they're meeting the standards and signage and usage and safety, et cetera. So thank you for that.
Councillor Dick.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. So amazing presentation. Thank you so much. You guys came out to that council meeting, and this is so much better because we got so much more information, and it was really, really good. So I do have a few questions, more curiosity than anything. So just say I'm going to go buy an ATV membership with the Renfrew County ATV, where does that, I don't know how much a membership is, but where does that money go?
90%, I'll say 90% of that revenue that our own club takes in will go back into trails.
Okay.
We have a lot of maintenance that we do on bridges, culverts, where there's washouts. We have to keep the trails safe for riders and keep them happy, and that's how we spend it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So then my next question is, so again, I buy a membership with the Renfrew County ATV Club. Am I allowed to trailer my ATV up to North Bay, down to Southern Ontario, Northern Ontario, and just, I can use it all across Ontario?
That's correct.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome on that. Thank you so much for that. And then I guess a comment before my last question. I think the town of Renfrew, I think we can do a really good job here, because we have, like, the bikers said it perfect, we're a hub. So now we have bikers, we have skidoers, and we have ATV. We have so much, and I don't think we're utilizing it to our potential. And I think that's something council is going to have to look at sooner than later, I really think you guys coming in right after the bikers helped a lot. Yeah. Really opened our eyes up. So the next question I'm going to ask you is, we have something on the agenda coming up. What are you looking for from the town of Renfrew? What do you want from us as a town immediately?
I think one of the things that I notice on my rides, because I'm a rider, is the speed at which a lot of ATVs and side-by-sides are using on the trails. So I want to get that speed down. I've talked to the county about this before. I want to get some new signage in place to bring those speed limits throughout the town at 20 kilometers an hour. Some of them roll through here at highway speeds, and that's just too fast. There's a lot of other users. They're getting covered in dust, that kind of thing. That's what we want to put a stop to that.
I also have something to add to that. I think just the general collaboration in terms of boosting tourism in the area. Any way that we can partner, whether it's local businesses or ECDEV, the town itself, ease of access is the biggest thing. That's what's going to draw everybody here. But we also need to promote throughout the trail system to drive them here. So that takes signage, and so when we act in that way, we can ensure that these riders are coming to this town in particular to explore what they're offering. But we need to let them know that throughout the system. So that's the biggest thing. So and then we need to work collaboratively on when they get here, where are they going to be? Where do we want to put them? Right? That's the biggest thing. They need to have somewhere to park that's convenient. So when we talked about the trailhead expansions, those 3 specific locations, that could be something that we look at more and discuss further, because that's one of our major initiatives here, is to bring the access for not only just for ORV parking, but the truck and trailers. So when we run an event, we talk about this. Sometimes we can have, it depends. We have to cap our rides because we don't have parking. So if you look at how long a truck and trailer is, it's huge, right? It takes up a lot of space. Well, if we're going to drive riders here, we need to accommodate for that. So that's the big pie in the sky at this point.
Councillor Dick.
Thanks. That is such amazing information. So I'm going to make a suggestion that when you start working with the town staff, that you CC our chair on the conversations, so he's kept in the loop on what's happening. I personally, I don't know what the other members of the committee feel, but I would prefer to see this not take 2 years to happen. I don't think it's that difficult. I think what they're requesting, as you can tell, I'm looking at you because you know exactly how I feel. We need to make this happen sooner than later. So just know that you'll have my support, and I'm sure you'll have most of council's support on this too. So again, thank you so much for the presentation.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I just want to further just elaborate a little bit on what I was saying about the speeds. Yeah, what I'm getting at is promoting trail etiquette. Okay, we have multi-users, not just ATVs, and we need to get that a focus on all those people working or using that trail together. We all play in the same sandbox.
Yeah.
So we want to keep everybody happy.
And I think it's important as us as a community, you're always going to have that 1% of a young adult driving 100 kilometers. I probably was one of them back in the day myself. So, but we as a committee and town, we have to educate everybody that just because one person's doing 100 kilometers an hour, the other 99% aren't. So again, thank you.
The other thing is I'm a resident. I live here and I take a lot of pride in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
McWhirter, and then John Paul.
Chair, great presentation. Clearly you spent a lot of time on that. It's great information. I appreciate how much time it is to manage a club and all the intricacies that come up with managing a club. So good on you guys. Great job. I agree with my fellow councillors. I think this is a great opportunity to partner. Just a couple things. We do have parking that I think would be ideal. We have the info center out at the other end, and we have Mattaway that's not utilized as much with hockey, obviously, in the summer. So there's ample parking probably out there as a focal spot. I know there is the pavilion out there for washrooms. There's two actually. But the info center, if we had our tourism ambassadors where they should be, in my opinion, back out there, there would be somebody there 7 days a week to have the washrooms, and they're accessible, open, and there is additional parking out there now. But my two questions were, first, do you have information pamphlets at the tourist information booths throughout the county to promote your club and promote the trails? And my second one is, have you looked at grants for helping this project that you're talking about?
We are staying on top, using Ottawa Valley Tourism as a source to stay on top of where the grants are coming from, or what grants are available to us. And your first question, sorry?
Concerning your information pamphlets and that,
Yeah.
to promote the trail, to promote your club, obviously.
We have our new brochures are in, I think they are ready to be printed, our new brochures.
May I answer the
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
Sorry about that. So we do use the OVTA to distribute our maps and our pamphlets and in our promotional stuff. But we work, that's part of one of the hats that I wear in looking into grants, and also we use our partners strategically to help us invest with certain projects. For example, we'll use, last year we used Whitewater snowgoers to redeck a bridge, and that's one of two other ones that we're going to be working on and partnering with them to mitigate the costs and stuff. So we do use that partnering to help with the costs. Also, the collaborative efforts on the Mask Road with the aggregate and culvert and that project, they're paying for some of the costs, as are we. So it's shared, shared expenses, and we try and do that as much as we can. So yeah, and we do go throughout the county and distribute our maps, but we are producing a new map, so that's in the works. So once we do, there's been a huge request for our maps, so it's just a matter of getting certain data and then getting it to print, and that should be out hopefully soon. Yep. Yep.
All right. John Paul?
Just one quick question. When you look at your membership base, how much of your membership base also would be classified as a snowmobiler? Is there overlap?
No.
So there's nobody that does trails in the snow on snowmobiles in the winter and ATVs in the summer? Or I guess I'm just trying to think, is there a super user that we're educating, that if we educate the guy or gal that are on snowmobiles about Renfrew, there's a spin-off that they're also going to be an ATV user, say, in the summer?
Well, there are both ATV riders and snowmobilers, but typically we don't condone riding in the winter with ATVs.
Sorry, I mean they're like members of both clubs, like somebody that would be.
Yeah,
like,
well, ours just like our permits speak only to
Right.
RVs, yeah, and then theirs speak to theirs. Is that
But,
what you mean?
well, I mean, like if you had the two clubs, how many of them are in both clubs?
Oh, I don't have that stat, but I'd say a healthy portion, yeah.
I'm just thinking like if we're educating someone.
And I think most of them are actually jumping into this sport because our season's longer. So,
Sure, absolutely. No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. I'll just say a few words, then I will pass it over to our CEO. He has a few comments as well. So signage seems to be one of the most repetitious items that we need to work on. And I know that there's a few initiatives that we are going to start putting together. So I do believe Hannah might even be speaking to signage yet today. So I do believe there's going to be step one is collaboration of signage, and let's see how broadly we can get signage out there and what kind of grants are available. And then I'll just speak to trail etiquette quickly before I hand it off. With respect to speed, I myself, a snowmobiler, I do have UTV, ATV, but I use it solely for hunting. But in the snowmobile industry, the OPP and the snowmobile clubs have cracked down on modified exhaust systems for snow machines, and I can hear it in Renfrew. The reason I say that is because I can't hear it. It's very minimal that I can hear snowmobile exhaust anymore. I can hear the ATV exhaust. The engine differences between the snow machine and the four-wheeler, when you put an exhaust on it, it's rapid. So do you mind touching up on what is being done about that portion of trail etiquette? Because it's 100 to 1 in my opinion.
Yeah, if I may. I know, how do I not be in the hot seat? I don't want to name names, but there are certain clubs that absolutely condone that. Performance Parts also condone that. We would like to think that that's not us. We advocate for respect. And we also cross-promote those messages from our other snowmobile clubs where they say, you know, stay on the trail, be respectful to our landowners and all that. So we do pump those messages, especially at our rides. The biggest thing too, we did get a complaint last year about, I think it was at a parade, yeah. Somebody had done some sort of a stunt, and instantaneously, you know, our reaction is to educate and address to prevent that, because the last thing we want to do is tarnish our reputation. So, yeah.
Thank you. That's great. So I'll hand over to the CAO, and I think that'll close out this portion.
Yes, thank you very much for your delegation. I would echo the comments. I thought it was exceptional. It was a very good presentation, well put together. I think your stats are really good. Your visuals it was one of the better delegations I think I've seen in a while. So kudos, well done. So I guess I'm speaking on the staff side and on the corporate side. So I think the town is kind of just like one cog in the machine, one part of this, and a multi-pronged partnership that I think is kind of evolving. And you're going to hear from our communications engagement coordinator shortly about the importance of partnerships across the county, and she hits on a few other ones. But you know, I've got a few notes here. I think, you know, in addition to yourself, you mentioned the snow goers, and I think there's a lot of what you've indicated here as strategic priorities that dovetail, that are useful to both organizations. And I think actually they're probably useful even beyond motorized transportation. So when you talk about biking, you talk about mountain biking, you talk about fat biking, you talk about even running, trail running, recumbent bikes, different things. So I think a lot of these initiatives will support various modes of transportation. So I think that's really good, and I think that's easier to sell as kind of a community and an economic development initiative, and something to put some resources towards if we can support more broadly, you know, the transportation tourism community. So that's great. What I'll say is that you know, I think on the partnership side, so in addition to the trail users, we, you know, thinking about things like where's the BIA fit into this? Because the BIA, they're looking at their own promotional and tourism activities related to that railway intersection there, that big piece of land. Mm-hmm. And so, how do we not duplicate effort, or how do we work together? I think is the bigger question. Like, how do we partner together and make sure we're kind of achieving our goals in a collaborative way and kind of pulling in the same direction? And I think there's a lot of opportunity there. They have resources, obviously. They have, you know, they have some tourism and promotions resources that they're going to be putting towards that this year. So it's definitely something. If you haven't been in touch with the BIA, to maybe we can put you in touch with them. Would be, I think, a good idea. I think internally, something that I'll mention too is that we're in the process right now of just kind of optimizing our kind of distribution of economic development resources at the town. So we're looking at who does what here. On the tourism side, you're going to hear from a communication and economic development officer, and she's probably, we're very likely going to be leading, it's in the council agenda. She's leading a number of initiatives, so it's happening, but it's just kind of rolling out, and things are being documented, but and put in place. But we anticipate that on the tourism side, we'll have some maybe different folks in different spots, but we want to get into a room with you, into a meeting, perhaps offline outside of committee, and to the councillor's point, maybe with the chair, and sit down and really get a sense of what this partnership looks like and how we can support you in this. I think it's probably it probably works less well when the town just takes something over and says, yeah, hey, we'll deal with it, and let us know, give us your feedback. I think the better approach, and one that I'll certainly be advocating for in a number of different aspects of our organization, is how can we support organizations that are already doing things really well and typically much more cost effectively. And so I think that's kind of how we want to set it up, is not so much that we're like driving the bus, but that you're doing that, and we're just seeing how we can help keep that bus moving and going the right, support whatever you're looking at doing. So those are kind of my thoughts. And but again, thank you very much for your time here. This has put some meat on the bone for me, this Ride Renfrew concept, and talking with Councillor Sobalski about what this looks like. I think this helps me to understand exactly where we're going with this. So that's good. Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah, we're very happy to have a seat at any table to help however we can. So that'd be great. Amazing.
Excellent. Thank you for your time, guys.
Thanks.
Through you, Chair Sobalski. I just wanted to make a note to the committee that the presentation that you viewed today will be published on a post agenda so that you can reference it at a future point.
Perfect. Okay. Anyone need a quick break? Are we okay to keep going? How's everyone doing? No hands? Everyone's good? All right. Okay. Amazing. Okay, we're going to move down into D, which is some development and economic updates. And as mentioned, D.1, which Town of Renfrew Tourism Communication Update, which is going to be our Communication and Engagement Coordinator, Anna McMillan.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. So I was asked to come today to do a little presentation on tourism and marketing communications that we have, that we're currently doing, our current maybe limitations and some current possibilities with that. So I wanted to touch on a few things as well. I will have a few initiatives to bring forward regarding signage specifically that I think is really important for the committee to have a look at and perhaps make some decisions on as well. So next slide, Sarah. So we currently have no dedicated tourism budget, summer student, or full-time staff position focused on tourism here at the town. This is something that perhaps could change. As Eric touched on, we are looking at that right now. Beginning in 2025, I did start to allocate a small portion of my budget to tourism. Last year, our summer student was removed, the tourism summer student was removed in 2025. And with that, we really had no resources dedicated to tourism at all. So I've tried to pivot a little bit, and I will talk about some of those partnerships that we've been working on with the limited budget we have. And to the point of RC ATV that they've been talking a lot about, is we've been leveraging a lot of strategic partnerships and hope to continue to grow that as we move forward, especially recognizing that we are all trying to get maximum market reach out of our limited resources that we have as organizations. So I'll move right into the next one. Thank you, Sarah. So our main partnership that we do here with the town is most certainly with Ottawa Valley Tourism Association through the County of Renfrew. They are the premier tourist organization here in the county. They are the experts, and we partner with them on a number of initiatives that really allow us to do things that we would not be able to do on our own with our own resources. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the few things that we do here with them in partnership. So sponsorship content. So they do 10 sponsored content ads in the form of blog posts, paid social media promotions, and web hyperlinks for us every year. I've included a few in there. They did one last year that was, ride in and stay a while. That was really focused on trails and coming to Renfrew. They do these throughout the year. They did one for our craft beer festival as well this year. They get a lot of traction as the main tourist organization here in the county. They get a lot of traction on their social media platforms and their websites, so it's great to be included in those. We are also, we pay to be featured in the road map and the cycling map, which to this day is their #1 resource for visitors who are exploring our area. Every resident in the county gets the OVTA road map, and the cycling map is distributed on an as-need basis. And as you'll see, 80,000 last year, 20,000 for the cycling maps. I believe Glenn at the museum had to reach out to them twice last year to be restocked. So they are very popular, and we're very pleased to be featured in those as well. And of course, perhaps even a bigger opportunity as we move forward with Ride Renfrew or any initiatives that may come out of this to be in that as well. Event partnerships package. So year-round, OVTA works to promote us and our initiatives at other events. So for example, Guitars and Gasoline, Taste of the Valley, Pembroke Expo, they are there with information on the town of Renfrew, on specifics. I'm really hoping to get them some good specifics for Guitars and Gasoline this year for our upcoming craft beer and food truck festival. And so it's great to be able to leverage their connections and their networks for that type of thing. Next slide, Sarah, please. The OVTA website header image is another thing that they do for us as well. They just have a rotating featured image on their website banner, and we are on that feature, which is great. We get stats and everything for that for click-throughs, and is quite beneficial for us. And I would say next to the roadmap and the roadmap and the trail map, certainly our influencer package is our #1. We get the most amount of traction and hits for this. We target with OVTA to have an influencer come and do a number of campaigns targeting Renfrew specifically. Again, we would not be able to do these types of promos without their partnership. And in fact, last year we partnered, the BIA came on and partnered with us for several of these. So it was a 3-way partnership, which allowed our reach to be pretty substantial and cut our costs down. So I was able to do a whole additional, us, OVTA, and the BAA were able to do a whole additional influencer for shopping downtown Renfrew at Christmas, which was wonderful. These partnerships are really essential for us to continue to do this work. This year coming up, our influencer package, we're doing 2, Summer in Renfrew. This one will be specifically around adventure tourism in Renfrew, so we're going to be doing a heavy focus on trails. We are doing kayaking as well through the Boncher River, and then of course downtown shopping, eating, staying, and more. That's our summer campaign. OVTA, they work with these influencers regularly. They know who they are. They know which influencer is the best one to have come in and do a particular type of social content. So we will be working with them to identify who that person will be, and then we will have another influencer, likely a food and beverage influencer, coming to do craft beer and food truck festival. So we're really excited about those 2 initiatives, partnering with OVTA and potentially even the BIA again this year. So we're very excited about that. Next slide, Sarah, thank you. So I know I've touched on it briefly, but we collaborate quite regularly with the BIA, again, looking to ensure we're not duplicating efforts and also looking to ensure that we are sharing resources. All of our resources are limited, and so that allows us to get a much higher reach for these tourism initiatives. The BIA right now, for example, is working, as was identified, they are working on signage with the County of Renfrew here in town. So, we are working quite closely with them to see, all of those marketing, to ensure all of those marketing influencer packages, joint marketing opportunities are well planned, and that includes wayfinding signage as well. Next slide, Sarah. I know Glenn was here a few meetings ago to talk a little bit about the McDougall Mill Museum. That is more in his wheelhouse, but I did want to mention it as well because I didn't want it to go unmentioned. They are certainly a big part of tourism here in Renfrew, specifically now because the Visitor Information Center is located out of there. There is a big growth and a big push this year, especially through the summer months, to get the gift shop. We have a gift shop already, get it a little bit larger. There is free Wi-Fi and expanded seating and enhanced visitor amenities such as bike rack and motorcycle parking, which is on the horizon for them. I know that is a number one brought up concern or request from individuals who visit the museum. Glenn is also very active with grant applications this year. He has applied for the community development grant, which is hopefully going to match up to $40,000 for capital funding, which will go towards some of those tourism initiatives at the McDougall Mill Museum, specifically as they relate to our 2035 strategic plan, waterfront master plan, and our arts, culture, and heritage plan. Next slide, Sarah. And supporting long-term integration of the museum and O'Brien Park. So this is something, again, that was identified as our strategic plan to 2035 and in our waterfront and arts, culture, and heritage master plan. The O'Brien Park is, a really well-utilized park in the summertime, specifically for bikers on the trail. And we are looking to, Glenn at the museum is looking at how we can better utilize that park with seating, bike racks, additional facilities for individuals who are coming through town. So while I don't work directly on that, I support Glenn with a lot of that. He is certainly, he has a good pulse on, because of the Visitor Information Center being there now, what usage is, what requests are coming in, and that sort of thing. Next slide, Sarah. Okay, considerations for future tourism growth in Renfrew. This is specifically as related to marketing that I'm dealing with. So certainly additional increase in tourism budget and a summer student to be able to allow us to focus a little bit more strategically on some of these initiatives. Currently, we don't have those, so we are limited. Again, hopefully everything I've showed you before, you're able to see that we are using our partnerships and our current budget and resources well, especially with our OVTA partnership. But certainly we would love to be able to grow those. Community partnerships, RCATV just touched on this quite a bit as well. We need to continue growing those partnerships, both with businesses, neighboring municipalities, and other organizations. How can we utilize these multi-use trail systems, for example, and how can we partner on these? And then I wanted to touch a little bit about the wayfinding development with the County of Renfrew and the Eastern Ontario Trail Loop. So two important initiatives. I know some of you will be familiar with these, some of you will not maybe, but there are two large initiatives. I sat in on an info session last week, actually, for the Eastern Ontario Rail Trail Loop initiative. These are two. Sarah, do you mind pulling up that map? Is that possible? These are two initiatives that are going on right now that I think would be very instrumental for us to partner with as a municipality or as a committee. The Eastern Ontario Rail Trail Loop system is already in the works. This is a huge system that is going through Eastern Ontario, with Renfrew being a main focal point and a main stop point in this rail trail system for these multi-use trails. Signage is huge. Signage is a big part of what they're doing, actually, and they are allowing businesses and municipalities to partner with them. So, for example, on that map, they made this example on the webinar I was on with them, where they said, there's a huge kind of gap when we're looking, from Renfrew down through Calabogie and down there, where there's not a lot of places to stop. This might be a great opportunity for Renfrew to have some signage there to talk about, on your way through, here's what Renfrew has to offer, here's what Renfrew, can offer you when you're driving through. So certainly I think there is a huge potential for opportunity for signage throughout this particular project and rail trail system that, again, would allow us to utilize resources. These people are the experts at these trails. This is a well-funded and very far along project as well. The other one that I wanted to mention that's a little bit more local for us here is the County of Renfrew's trail wayfinding and commercial signage. So this policy is a new policy with the county that actually went to committees 2 weeks ago and is going to county council today for final approval. And they are going to be touching on, the expectations and what will be included for trail signage on all County of Renfrew trail signs moving forward. And that will be starting this year if it's approved at County Council today, which I think they anticipate it will be. And this includes local municipalities and how local municipalities are going to be able to add signage to these trails, how local businesses may be able to add signage to these trails. They even go into some specifics around things like bicycle repair stations and how municipalities could work with the county to be able to ensure that one is in their region. So I certainly think we'll have more details again today after this has gone through County Council, but I wanted to bring these two projects forward because I think that it really allows for us to to RC ATV's point, to maybe not reinvent the wheel, but how can we better partner with these organizations to be able to get that trail, that signage and some more of those marketing opportunities for us as a municipality. And that's all I really have today. Thank you very much, and I certainly would be open to any questions that you might have.
Amazing, Hannah. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
To the committee, any questions? I'm seeing repetition here, which means we've got some work in front of us, which I like. Yeah, I'm excited. So thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the BIA update. Yep. Oh, did I miss something? Oh, my mistake. I am sorry. We're going to hold you back just a second. Computers. All right, so we're going to go D2, Renfrew County ATV parking. That the Economic Development Advisory Committee received the Renfrew County ATV Club parking report as information, and further, that the committee provide recommendations to Renfrew Town Council on how to partner and support the Renfrew ATV, or Renfrew County ATV. I have a mover. Councillor McWhirter. Okay. This was brought to council. We've got an MOU with Renfrew County ATV, and they're looking for they're looking for parking opportunities because of everything that we were just told today. So roundtable conversation, does anyone have any input on some of the requests or any input that we can provide to council on recommendations? As of right now, they're asking for parking at the Hermes Park, which is the old Visitor Information Center, and the MyFM Center. So, Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I think it's a no-brainer, and I know I totally forgot about the loop in behind the dog park for parking. And I think when this was brought to council 2 weeks ago, we all assumed it was in the parking lot, and we were all concerned about that. But I totally forgot about the loop, so I have no issue bringing this back to council and recommending that we move forward with our town staff working with the ATV club to figure it out.
Thank you. Any other comments? John Paul?
Obviously, anything close to downtown is beneficial for the BIA. I don't know that the town necessarily has space, but certainly when we talk about the spirit of working together, like I think of the curling club in the summer is probably their parking lot's probably not overly busy in the summer. They would be someone that maybe if asked would see an opportunity to host. And maybe there's other locations, none pop to my brain immediately, but certainly in that area that's nice and close to downtown that you could walk up and you could park, and they have a fair bit of space there.
Yeah, thank you. Christina Lett?
And just to add on that, through you, Chair, John, also I'm thinking that maybe the downtown could be just designated for just the ATVs and not the trailer and truck, and just kind of get that information out there for the riders.
Yeah, so definitely a way to entice just the riders on the equipment themselves, the downtown. I like the idea of the curling rink. And also it was presented today, the chunk of land that's county-owned that I guess Railway is right in the center that the trail crosses. That's a huge chunk of property that maybe with a little bit of work we can partner with the BIA and others and approach the county and see what kind of project we can put together there just to entice all. But for the ATVs directly, I'll speak to Councillor Dick's point. Yeah, if the parking in my FM Center is external to the paved current parking lots, I'm in full support of it because I know Mr. John Pohl could probably attest there are days out there where he probably struggles to find a parking spot. So to fill it with trucks and trailers at the volume and size that comes in, it would be difficult. But if we can find external parking, I think that's amazing. Any other comments on this?
Is the intent just for the town to provide the actual real estate to designate for parking, and then the club and other organizations that would be wanting to utilize it, they would be responsible for doing whatever needs to be done to make it usable for them?
That's a great question. And am I going to pass this off to Director or the CAO?
We're just checking to see if there's any budget allocated to this particular project, and we can find that out. There's potential that some operating could be diverted towards that, but I'll let the director deal with that.
Yep, thank you, through you, Chair. So in our report that we brought to Council a few weeks ago, we just noted that there are no direct financial impacts of bringing the report forward, but related costs would be determined based on what we agreed upon. So I think just in consultation with the ATV Club, we have talked about line painting and any signage. I don't know about additional expenses required for those parking areas, but we may be able to form some sort of arrangement.
Yep, follow up.
Thank you. Yeah, so once we figure that out and scope exactly what's happening, and we can cost out what the project is likely to cost, we can look at how that gets paid for. We'll have to bring it to council if there's any additional budget required. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments or additions? Again, collaboratively working and showing support and giving an opportunity is great. So these comments will be brought back to staff, and they'll put something together to work on the MOU, to my understanding, right? So, great. Now we're moving into E, which is our community updates. Representative from the BIA.
So our first big change yesterday, we had a change in our executive. So Lisa Vincent is now our chair, with Lorraine staying on as vice chair and Mel staying on as treasurer. And Kinsey Maxwell from Innabind has joined the board to fill our vacancy. So that's a great update. I'm going to start with some of the events, and then I'm going to get into some of the stuff that excites me first. So our Music in the Square is planned again for every Friday in July and August. So we've got a great lineup of musicians already planned for that, and it will go from 5 to 8. It will also coincide with our Heart of Renfrew Market. So we've partnered with Haley from Heaslip Events, who's going to help us try to build this market and grow the market. It is going to be moved to Low Square this year to try and give it a big, cozy feel. Where are we? Our Great Downtown Garage Sale is coming up on Saturday, May 2nd. So as you know, the streets line up with vendors, all the shops put their bits out, and we've added music to this as well. So one of the initiatives we started last year was an Algonquin Trail sign. So we're currently working with the county at the minute, is on Railway, in the Railway area here, we would like to put up a big sign to get people downtown, you know, shop, dine, whatever, to get them downtown. So we're in the works of doing that. We also have another sign that we're looking to put somewhere as well. So those are the two initiatives we're working on with that. And the one thing we're excited about, we have created a downtown Renfrew map. We have the final design now, so if anybody wants to see it after, I can email it to you or whatever. The map itself will have, there's a write-up on historic downtown Renfrew. Some of the businesses downtown have had the opportunity to highlight their business with an ad. The map itself highlights the trails, highlights all the businesses in our downtown BIA are listed on the map with the coordinates to their, oh, sorry, I didn't realize it was on the screen. This isn't the final version. I got the final version yesterday. So at the bottom, all the businesses are highlighted with the coordinates to each one. It now goes across the page, so it's changed it considerably. You will see there's insets. So we've added an inset to the boat launch because we're trying to promote kayaking, water sports to get people to town. I personally kayak there, so it's a great place to go from. We've also put an inset for Mattaway to highlight everything that's out there. We've also added another one for the museum, and all the QR codes will lead them to Google Maps to get the directions to get to those locations. We have highlighted the points of interest like your town hall, public library, your post office, where the public washrooms are, parking downtown, your gas stations, your churches, an electric car charging station. So you will see all of that. We've also done on the one side a things to see and do. There's a lot of things to see and do in Renfrew when you start looking at them. So we've highlighted McDougall Museum, the Swinging Bridge, obviously Mattaway Park, the MyFM Centre Recreation Complex, all the trails from the Mattaway Recreational Trail to the Algonquin Trail to the KMP Trail to the Millennium Trail to the Bunch River Hiking Trail and the boat launch. We ran out of room, so what we've now done is added a QR code to the bottom with more areas of interest in Renfrew, such as parks, golfing, and then other bits that are within 30 minutes of downtown Renfrew, like the Bontra Caves. So the QR code will lead you to a page that we are now creating on our website that will have things to do. So when people go to that QR code, it will lead us to the website, and everything will be listed there with their explanations and directions to those places. And then we also continuing our partnerships. So with the town, I work a lot with Hannah and Glenn as well, and OVTA for upcoming advertising, potential initiatives for the trails. We are currently now, we've become a member of the Ontario Highlands Tourism Association as well. Yeah, and that's it. Any questions?
Questions on the map? No? Very good. Thank you. That's it? All right. I like it. Renfrew Area Chamber of Commerce update?
Thank you. Through you, Chair. So coming up on March 24th is actually our AGM, and we have a wonderful speaker, Jennifer Lehman, and this year it's being held at the Renfrew Golf Course. And so Jennifer Lehman, she actually has a company called Forward Thinking, and she's a marketing consulting, and she has tips for small businesses. So I encourage anybody to go out to the golf course on March the 24th. It starts at 7:30 in the morning. You can either get your tickets through our website or give the Chamber of Commerce a call, and Gail will be able to help you. Also, we are also celebrating our 125th anniversary. And so we're working on some great initiatives for the year coming, and that is about it. Any questions?
Questions? Thank you very much for the update. We're going to move into E, which is committee member updates. We have an update on from Councillor McWhirter regarding the motorcycling community feedback on events.
Thank you, through you, Chair. So we did have a couple of meetings. We discussed things. Our ride for the raise funds for the local legions is going ahead on May 16th. Members felt that their day was pretty full, and to take on anything else that day themselves would be a little too much. The club itself does a lot of fundraising for the food bank and that all year round for different charities, and they do support rides where they get asked to also participate in helping out, marshal rides, etc. So they felt as far as their part in all of this, it was they had already had a full agenda, and the ride is there if the town wanted to do something the same day, but as far as their end goes, they weren't looking to take on any more responsibilities. So I'll leave it at that. So they do, while they're in town, I do know that the club promotes the downtown if people want to eat or shop or whatever, but and normally they get maybe 100 bikes, so they're usually 2 people on each bike, so that's 200 people. So they're all pointed downtown or to the other restaurants in town, not just downtown. But so that is promoted. But as far as doing anything else, their agenda for that day is pretty full.
Thank you, Councillor. And I'll ask quickly: do you think of all the ride Renfrew information? I understand that the bikes are road going. The vehicles, does the Ride Renfrew initiative fit at all with the motorcycling journey, or is it 2 separate items?
No, there might be a place for that. I know there is already a map that's been in place for a while with the Highland Trail. It has the museum as a stop on that map, and it's for motorcycles, not just tour bikes, but for crotch rocket sport bikes out of Ottawa. I know they utilize 511 all the time. That is part of that map. It goes all the way over to Quadville and around. It's kind of a loop. So there is a map out, sort of bringing people into town. But if there was some kind of initiative that they could be part of a Ride Renfrew, that they could work that in, I'm sure they would be interested. And we're affiliated, or the club is affiliated with a number of other clubs throughout Ontario. So it's a small community when you really get looking at it. Everybody sort of helps everybody else out. So there is a potential for that if something was to come up.
Okay, thank you. I'll steal a word from our CAO, the dovetail effect here. I think once we start putting things together, it'll catch the motorcycles potentially just by adding pictures and information being provided. So thank you. Councillor McWhirter, any questions for Council? No? Okay. Before I move into E3.2, I'm going to take a drive back up to D.2 because we had a good chat regarding the Renfrew County ATV Club, but that required a vote just to say we accept what we discussed. So I'll just read it again for record, and we'll get a vote. That the Economic Development Advisory Committee received the Renfrew County ATV parking report as information, and further that the committee provide recommendations to the town council on how to partner and support the Renfrew ATV Club. All in favor? Carried. Thank you for that, everyone. Now we'll go down to E3.2. That the Economic Development Advisory Committee recommend that the Renfrew Town Council consider the creation of a tourism task force with a mandate to identify community partners for event coordination and funding, and to suggest event ideas to enhance tourism in the town of Renfrew, and further the Renfrew Town Council directs staff to bring forward a report in terms of reference for council's consideration. I have a mover. Christina Ouellette. Christina, this was your motion. Do you mind speaking to it and giving us a little bit of a background?
So I'll just, today is the day of tourism, I think. So I truly believe that there should be a task group so we don't, so we can all work together. So it's like it's all about us all. So we're not duplicating things as well. Tourism is a vital part of our community. It brings revenue, it creates jobs for our residents. Visitors to our community support local businesses. such as restaurants, shops, and helping them to stay afloat. This in turn preserves our small town charm with charm and character. Tourism also promotes cultural exchange, allows visitors to experience our community's unique heritage and traditions while sharing our own stories and perspectives. This fosters a sense of connection and understanding, benefiting both our visitors and residents. By investing in this tourism task group initiatives, we can also showcase our community's attractions, infrastructures, and natural beauty, attracting new visitors, businesses, and residents that can lead to long-term growth and prosperity for our town. Some of the key benefits of tourism in our small community includes job creations and economic growth, preservation of local culture and heritage, infrastructure and development, increased community engagement and pride, which is very, very, very important to me and a lot of people in the town of Renfrew. And by supporting tourism, we can ensure our community remain a vibrant and desirable place to live and visit. Just for a couple examples, one came to my mind just not too long ago. I actually walked in the coldest night, and it was held by the Renfrew Food Bank. And I think that's a great opportunity for the BIA to actually partnership also with the town of Renfrew. It's an initiative that I think a lot of people would be passionate about, and that's just a simple event that could happen in Renfrew without putting a lot of monetary towards it as well. We did another one that we talked about a while ago, just Jacob and I just talked about it briefly about Maple Fest. And then you, Kyle, got an email and somebody had figured out a whole event to happen around that. And with having this task force group, we'd be able to identify these low-cost events that could happen for the downtown Renfrew and for the whole community that we could that we can easily look at a few of these initiatives throughout the year that wouldn't cost us a whole pile of money. I also think about an art show as well, because there's a lot of fantastic artists that are around, and it will also help just community, driving people down to the downtown core, and again, with low to next to no budget for this at all. So that is my speech.
Thank you. Thank you, Christina. Any questions for Christina off the start? Councillor McWhirter.
Through you, Chair. So I looked at this and thought about it, and I'm sorry, but I think this would be overlap for what we're already doing. The town is looking at an initiative where we're paying staff to do this very job. You have the museum who's running events for tourism also. You have the BIA who's running. I find this is going to be an added burden to the staff as it is would work, because believe it or not, no matter what committee it is, it falls back to have to deal with. Every time someone comes up with a great idea, and they're all great ideas, don't get me wrong, we've tried a number of ideas in the past, it all comes down to the taxpayer. So it's one more group went ahead. I just feel this like it's sort of repetitive. The town's the town used to do all the tourism. I think in the past they've done a great job. They've had some great ideas. Not all of them panned out, but all of them cost money. So I'm not in favor of it. I totally agree. Tourism is a big part of especially a small town, but I just don't agree with on one more committee. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think the approach is actually assisting with the town. It's not making a separate committee. It's actually assisting with this, with the town, because you do have limited staff to focus on this. So I believe that there is strong people in the committee or in the community that actually can help and drive this this tourism, because I'm just going to say a couple years ago when we were asked, we all sat on the tourism board. That's what I'm asking for us to create this group to help under like whoever is doing the tourism. I'm pointing at you, Hannah, but to also give ideas as well. I'm not asking for to have a separate committee on its own. It's actually under the hat of the direction of the tourism in the town of Renfrew. Like I said, a couple years ago, there was a lot of us, there was 2 town councillors that went out and asked local businesses to sit on the tourism committee, and that's how the beer festival came about.
I was going to go. I'm going to cut you off, and I'll come back to you. Thank you. Yeah. I think I'm ready to go. We had a meeting some time ago, and it was a very healthy meeting in this chamber, and it was in regards of potentially reaching out to community members for an economic development officer or tourism officer. I do believe, John Bull, you remember we had great discussions, and it was a really good meeting. I know Christine, you remember as well. And then things changed, and we ended up appointing a staff member, and a lot of things have happened since then. But it is something potentially, I'm just kind of gather some thoughts. Is this individual, is it someone that maybe we could be reaching out to the public is what you're after, and potentially giving them an opportunity to sit as a tourism individual that sits in at the BIA and the chambers and in this meeting to collect and try and compel data as a general person, so that we're not all working on separate things, that all the data is coming to one spot? Or am I kind of misunderstanding what you're really looking for?
Pretty much is to get all the data in one spot, so we're not overlapping, and so we can all partner, and then also assist in seeing there's things that maybe at the town level that you're not seeing from the business aspect of it, and I think it's very important because we are huge stakeholders in the town of Renfrew.
Councillor Dick.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. So I get the idea. I think there is some missing components. I see Christina's vision, and I just don't think it's on the paper correctly, and I would be afraid if this went to council, there'd be a lot of vague questions, but I 100% get what she's saying and what she wants to see happen. And I like the idea, but then we'll go back to Councillor McWhirter, what he said, will town council approve this? So here's the thing I look at it. We are a committee, and our job is to come up with ideas and boot it up the line to council for council to decide. So in my opinion, a committee member has brought together an idea, and I think it's worth exploring. We're not making any decisions here. We're just asking council to consider it, and I would support this. I think this is a thing we should boot up the line. This is just my thought as one committee member, though. So, thanks.
Thank you, and I know that CEO has some clarifying questions, and to follow that, so we've heard also from Hannah that we don't have much of a budget. So maybe step one is a recommendation to have council explore what the next budget is going to look like for a tourism position, or a budget line, so that this can actually progress, because we don't have a budget for it right now. But CAO.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm just listening around the table and just trying to understand the vision here. And I think what I think it sounds like is we're just trying to figure out who's interested around the table in tourism, and like who specializes in tourism. Like presumably people, on an advisory committee come from different walks of life and different skill sets, and they, maybe specialize in something that other folks don't. So maybe there's 1 or 2 people around the table that know tourism and know it well, and might be more engaged and more able to kind of add value to the work that staff are doing, or to anything that comes out of these meetings. So I think that's, if I'm understanding right, I know we're kind of conceptualizing this. I think the kind of the analog that I see with this potentially, and my recommendation is going to be that we maybe take some time as staff to sit down and kind of digest the discussion here and come back with maybe a recommendation about how this could possibly work. With the Bonnechere River Trail project, there was a working group that was stood up that was comprised of people that had an interest in the project and maybe some specialized expertise. They knew how to build trails. They knew about plants and different things, different features. They maybe had some connections to other levels of government that could help move the project along or what have you. These were folks that were not on council. They were community members, community partners, different things. There's maybe an opportunity there. Like where my head is kind of at is how do we advance these tourism initiatives but don't add a lot of kind of weight to the process that slows it down. So I think ultimately what ends up happening is if you create another process or you create another formal body or well, now we've got to, it can be, there's less agility, I'm going to say. So what I think we want to try to figure out is how we can get people working on initiatives together that are outside of the organization, that are not on staff, whether it's RCATV or members of this committee or the snow goers or maybe the county or the BIA, working on initiatives that we've talked about here today, to make sure that we're driving them forward and that we're getting the right input and making use of the resources available to us, as opposed to just trying to throw money at things and not actually achieving what we're setting out to achieve. So that's a lot, but what I think is probably worthwhile is maybe coming back at the next committee meeting with some thoughts. We can maybe digest these, maybe send a few emails around, yourself, Christina, and to the chair, and just to kind of get a sense of where we want to go with this. My recommendation. Thank you.
Any other comments, John Paul?
Yeah, I don't have the exact answer, but I think the concept of having some people that get involved from user groups in an incubator capacity that can sort of start connecting some of the dots, I think is helpful. So like, I'll give you an example. Like Renfrew Minor Hockey in the last 4 or 5 weeks has brought like 45 teams from across Ontario into town. Well, that's 15 players on every team, that's 30 parents, it's grandparents, it's brothers and sisters. And all of those people transcend onto the MyFM Center. And I don't know if we could honestly say we've connected the dots really well. Here we have a group of volunteers that have brought all this economic activity into the town. How are we maximizing it to make sure the BIA knows about it, so that if they felt there was something they could do to show off that weekend, big or small, it's communicated back at the MyFM Center to the visitors that are there, so they're not just coming in for a game and leaving. They're actually being invited to participate in the garage sale or see the trails or whatever the thing is. And I think, again, I'm a Renfrew Minor Hockey guy, but there are other organizations that they're already doing the work. And I think what we need is, someone, whether it's a volunteer, whether it's a committee, whether it's a staff member, that connects all of those people together so that we're maximizing everyone's work. So that when the BIA has a thing going on, all these other groups that have similar things going on that weekend can amplify it. When minor ball or minor soccer bring people in, there's a way it can be amplified to benefit events and other groups, because we actually already have a lot of these people doing these things. I think what we're missing is just maybe whether it's a user group or whether it's just someone that is like the connect the dots person to say, hey, you know, tourism isn't just downtown, it's being generated at the arena with hockey or soccer. How do we get those people to make sure that while they're here, they spend an extra $25, $35, $45 at the flower factory or at, you know, Finnegan's, Boston Pizza, wherever it might be. And I think that communicating that and tying all that together is I think one of the things that we can do to amplify what we're already doing. Like, we don't have to go keep creating more groups and more, we just need to get it together so that we can amplify the cool stuff that's already happening, because there is the activity that's taking place in the town in many different groups is pretty impressive. It's just, how do we make sure we have it all in one place so that we can share it and connect those dots?
Councillor McWhirter.
Chair, I feel this committee itself spends a fair amount of time talking about tourism and how we can attract businesses and people to town for the downtown or for the other businesses in town. Maybe what we should look at is expanding this committee to invite some of the other groups, as John said, makes sense. Maybe bring in some other people from that end of tourism or whatever into this group. Is that something that we could expand? I'm just throwing that out. I mean, we do spend time doing it, and this is the Economic Development Committee, and rather than form another complete committee, just add a couple key people to it, maybe.
I'll jump in, Councillor McWhirter, and I think you're right, and I think John actually touched on something, and I think that there should be a conversation had to polish this to bring it back, but maybe not necessarily adding Renfrew Minor Hockey to this particular committee, but reaching out to Renfrew Minor Hockey and whoever their president is that oversees the entirety of it. Understood, trying to be polite, but is there capacity in that particular president for that particular group to say, I know there's a tournament coming in this weekend and there's 40 teams, for that president to reach out to the BIA and the Chamber of Commerce and say, this is what's happening on this weekend, put some packages together. Get the word out through the BIA or the chambers. It's up to that individual group to reach out to maybe, not necessarily the BIA, but this person that Christina's trying to identify, that one central person, so that they can say, geez, there's a tournament coming in. I'm going to let Hannah know at Renfrew. I'm going to let the BIA know. I'm going to let people know that something's happening. I kind of took that, what you're saying, John, that's what rang up in my head. So instead of adding people to this group, it's adding that central contact, and all the groups are aware that that's their central contact.
If I may, to that point, that's almost better than having to pick up the phone and call everybody you can think of, or sending out mass emails to everybody you can think of. You've almost got everybody in this room, and BIA, the Chamber, in my opinion. But Hannah, just my idea.
I think also further, just to add on to it, I think it's also just in the way as a town we approach everything. So, for example, like the MyFM Center team, they know everything that's happening at the MyFM Center this weekend, right? They're already working for us, already employed. How do we make sure they're connected to get it to BIA and the Chamber, and the BIA and Chamber know that, hey, something's going on, I'm going to make sure the MyFM Center team know, because we have digital screens and things that are going on. Like, some of it might just be like, from a very high level, we go, hey, here's 10 things we could do that cost us no money, that we already have people in place that would gladly do it, just no one's ever asked them. And if we connect the dot, they'll go, oh yeah, we have the complete schedule of who's renting the gym and who's renting the ice, and like, we know who's there, and we can provide that information in a very simple way that immediately gets dispersed to whoever it might be. MyFM, Chamber, BIA, Metroland, whoever it is, we just have a way that it gets communicated.
Yeah, and then also to the event itself, making sure that they have the information of things that are being presented to them, right? So CAO and then Councillor Dick, did you have something? Sure. CAO first.
Yeah. So I think a couple things. I think this committee, as it exists, I think tourism is within its mandate, I think pretty clearly, right? So I think the folks that are on this committee are partly on this committee. You know, we want to see growth, we want to see development, but tourism and promotions is on that list. So I would say that, you know, there might be a way to engage folks that have a particular interest in tourism on the committee, just by virtue of the fact that you're on this committee, right? So you have certain access and participation in tourism events just by virtue of the fact that you're on this committee. So I think there's that. The other thing I think to bear in mind, and I thank the Deputy Clerk for reminding me of this, this committee, so this committee's last meeting is in September. Okay, so there's 6 meetings left if we meet every month until September. There's potentially an opportunity to reframe at the next term of council exactly what this committee does in its composition and things like that. So this is maybe something to work towards as we look to 2027 and beyond in terms of exactly how we want to shape this. But I think in the short term, there's some quick wins, like there's some low-hanging fruit. If we have a rep from Renfrew Minor Hockey and from the ATV Club and snowgoers, and you know, there's someone from the BIA that we can, and we just have a bit of like a comms group that you can push things out, say, hey, we have this tournament, we've got whatever, you know, happening this weekend. Can you put this out on your channels? Let your membership know. Is there anything that we can do to promote this and make sure that, you know, we're kind of taking advantage of these things as catalysts for economic like benefit across the town, and not just, you know, at the MyFM Center and, you know, no one else knows what's going on there. So that's an easier thing I think we can do. That's, I think, just like a few emails away, and we get something like that going. And then on Ride Renfrew, if in different initiative-specific things, I think again we're pulling in the folks that are experts in that field, and that our partners, we're pulling those folks in on specific initiatives. But again, maybe we can come back and we can kind of formalize and kind of put our thinking caps on and come back with some ideas at the next meeting.
Thank you, CAO. Christina, would you be okay if this gets put to an opportunity to rediscuss and repackage to come back?
Yes, actually, further discussions, Eric, with you just bringing up some things. The reason why having this little group assisting, because if it's not, there's nothing formed, it will fall by the wayside. Like, who's going to do it? Who's going to send out those emails? So that's the only thing that I was pretty much asking for, is just this incredible partnership that we can partner with, getting it from, you know, our like from Hannah, and then working with the BIA, working with the town, working with Renfrew Minor Hockey, and having these people just like basically catalysts of this group of just sending out the information so it just gets everywhere. And that's essentially what I would love to see.
So if I think you'll be okay with this, I'm going to ask maybe potentially we vote this down, and for the next advisory committee meeting, we'll have a new package of words available for us to continue this conversation, maybe with a little different portfolio that might land itself, you know, something achievable within this group, as Councillor McWhirter was saying, and comfort levels are good everywhere across. So on that, all in favor? No, sorry. Just want to make sure we're clear. All in favor, as the motion read, that this would be going to council today, or if we oppose it, it stays here and it dies at the table right now. So all in favor of this? And opposed? Okay, motion's not carried. Thank you, everyone. F, which is items for information, the Economic Development Advisory Committee did put a motion forward to staff for resources for adventure and trail tourism research. That did pass. So CAO, if you could maybe just top up real quick what that means on the staff level in our group. If I can put you on the spot, I'm not sure you're prepared for that.
Yeah, I think that I'll do my best. I think next steps really are, so we have the support of the committee on the asks and what's been specifically about the parking and where that's going and those kinds of things. So I think the next steps on that piece is the director will go back to council with a bit of a scoping report and some costing and identifying exactly where those funds are going to come from, if any additional budget's required. I mean, we do have operating budget for these kinds of things. The question is, do we have enough and still be able to maintain just regular operations, putting gravel down different spots, filling potholes. So I think that's the next step, is this comes back to council for direction to proceed. On the other initiatives, again, I think again we take this back and I think we're with the chair and with the Renfrew County ATV folks start to put our heads together and think about how we can advance some of these other initiatives, signage, and again maybe working together with the BIA on some stuff they're already doing. But then maybe I'm thinking we come back on a monthly basis to the committee and just provide updates on exactly how this is moving forward.
Thank you. F2, provincial announcement, widening of Highway 17 between Arnprior and Renfrew. The formal update from Billy Deneau was last week. It was held here. Obviously, it's good news. Our Reeve Emo did actually announce that in our meeting previous to that, I think maybe the month before, and he shouldn't have, but it's really exciting news. It's all there for your information if you want to follow up. So G, again, upcoming discussion requests. If there's anything right now that someone has that they'd like to add to the next meeting, or as always, you can send an email to Sarah. She's always willing to listen and hear what we have to say. H, committee meeting minutes, that the Economic Development Advisory Committee confirm minutes of committee meeting dated February 10th, 2025. I have a mover, Christina Ouellette. Any comments, questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. And then I, which is upcoming meeting of committee. Next regular scheduled meeting of Economic Development Advisory Committee is scheduled for April 14th, 2025 at 10 a.m. And thank you for your patience, everyone. That was near a 2-hour meeting. So at 11:58, I will now adjourn.